Hello and welcome to Pluribus Unum's Fireside Chats. Not as good as FDR's, but hey, it's something. So, today, of course, you may know or you may not know, depending on how politically relevant you are. Which, I mean, I would assume you guys would be. You watch this show. But there are some big things that happened, but are not so big things. For starters, the one thing that I'm not going to use a story for, but I'm just going to go on a bit about, the Mueller report. The Mueller report has been officially given to the, administration, to William Barr, pretty much. Now, what are my thoughts? I don't know. I haven't read it yet. I mean, all we have to go on is Mueller has revealed that there will be no further indictments. Which means one thing. There are some aspects of the Mueller investigation that have just been completely gone. You see, because since he said no more indictments, clearly it means that whatever it has ties to doesn't necessarily mean, basically, unless it says otherwise actually in the report, but from what I seem to gather is, I was right. What we currently know now of Trump and his crimes is what is in the final report. Money laundering, campaign finance violations. I mean, maybe not necessarily money laundering. I keep saying money laundering. I don't think I know what it means. But campaign finance violations, giving money from his campaign to pay off Stormy Daniels. That's it. That's what you got. That's pretty much all that has been revealed. Everybody who's been thrown in jail, it's campaign finance violations that seem to be the issue. Nobody was jailed due to them having a connection with Russia. And, well, surprise, surprise, that's a thing. It's like, wow, you're telling me that Vladimir Putin wasn't controlling Donald Trump? This is new news? But, this is the funny thing. You can tell that the thing is, everybody seems to notice except for the mainstream media and people who buy into it, but the Mueller investigation in Russiagate, it was not made to be an actual issue. They're not actually trying to solve a real political issue. They're actually just distracting you from what's actually going on. They're distracting you from the fact that half of the country is poor. They're distracting you from the fact that last year Amazon made $11,200,000,000 and has paid zero taxes. They're distracting you from the fact that people are dying every day because they can't afford health insurance. This is the stuff that they're distracting you from. That was the whole reason that wedge issues were invented. Like, women can't have abortions. We need to focus all of our attention on these issues. Not saying that abortion isn't a big issue, but it is made to distract from a certain political thing. It is made so that you don't have to focus on the actual issues at hand. You don't have to actually analyze the fact that 22% of American children live in poverty in the richest nation in the world. You don't have to pay attention to the fact that the U.S. is currently aiding and abetting a genocide in Yemen. You don't have to pay attention to that because Putin is Trump's master, blah, blah, blah. You see, this is the whole point of it. It's why a Joe Schmo in his garage can make a more successful show than Bill Maher. Ludicrous. But anyways, now let's get right into the news, because I have no idea what the Mueller report says, so I don't know anything about it. This first thing isn't really a story. It's just something that happened. Steve King posted a meme on Facebook. Here's what the meme says. It shows a picture of two U.S. people fighting, blue and red. And the blue ones are made of all the blue states, New York, California, Maine, Pennsylvania. They include Florida, despite the fact that Florida is a swing state. And for the other one, it has like Texas, North Carolina, the red states. And then it says, folks keep talking about another civil war. One side has about 8 trillion bullets, while the other side doesn't know which bathroom to use. And Steve King's like, wonder who would win. And then people are like, wait, hold on. You're actually fantasizing about a civil war? What? And he's like, oh, and deleted it. Such a loser. He can't even, stick by the actual thing. It's just, wow, incredible. This is blah, blah, blah. I mean, there's nothing much to say because Steve King, everybody already knows about, Steve King's, terrible stuff and how even Ben Shapiro can't even stand with him anymore. But, same old, same old. Next story. This story is coming from a new legislation that's coming around. It is called the Equality Act. The Equality Act is pretty much going to extend the Civil Rights Act to gay people and to pretty much to all the LGBTQ people. It currently has the endorsements from 237 Democrats in the House and 3 Republicans. Now, for those of you who don't know, the 3 Republicans in question are Representative John Katko from New York, Brian K. Fitzpatrick from Pennsylvania, and Jennifer Gonzalez Colon, who is the representative from Puerto Rico, who of course doesn't actually get to vote on the legislation. But here's the thing you might notice. You might be like, wait, hold on. 237 Democrats? Isn't there someone missing? Because the Democrats, they don't have that many seats. They have 1 more seat. And 2 seats are vacant because, North Carolina screwed everything up. Well, there is currently 1 representative and 1 senator, both Democrats, who have openly stated that they are not going to support the bill. Those 2 in question are... Hold on. Why don't you take a guess? The representative is Dan Lipinski, and the senator is Joe Manchin. I know. These 2 very super lefty voices within the Democratic Party, these are just... It's surprising that these super social democratic socialist members of the Congress absolutely... It's just... Oh, wait, hold on a second. That's not true. You see, Lipinski's an openly pro-life, super anti-Obama, and part of the, Blue Dog Coalition. And he openly hate, this guy is, it literally says here, Lipinski opposed recognition of same-sex marriage until Supreme Court legalized it. The resistance, everyone! Resisting the socially conservative ideologies by openly supporting these super conservative Democrats. Speaking of conservative Democrats, the next story, I don't have not much to say because what a shock. Joe Manchin, the super conservative Democrat, and Dan Lipinski, the super conservative Democrat, what a surprise. Those 2 are conservatives. I'd say primary them, but House Democrats moved to hobble primary challengers. The party's congressional campaign arm rolled out new hiring standards to deter firms from working with candidates who run against incumbents. The Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee is making an early move to deter primary challenges against sitting incumbents in the caucus with a new policy aimed in part in protecting the new majority. The campaign arm on Friday sent out a list of hiring standards to more than 100 political firms, including one provision that made it clear that will neither contract nor recommend House candidates or any political vendors to work outside sitting members of the Congress. This is fucking bullshit. You know why? Because newsflash, guys, every single member of Congress was at one point a primary challenge. Primaries are supposed to be democratic. What a shock. The Democratic Party does actual anti-democratic policies. I'm so shocked. It is amazing. I am so shocked. 2016 didn't prove that. This is the fully supporting thing that shows that they are super undemocratic. My fake shock aside, this is stupid. Again, every single one of these Democrats were at one point a primary challenger. Whether they were primarying a Republican, not primarying a Republican, like challenging a Republican, or primarying a Democrat, or just running in a primary in an open seat. Why? I'll tell you why, because the Democratic Party, surprisingly, doesn't like democracy. Why the hell do you think they have superdelegates? I mean, it is strange. These super populist roots of the party, Andrew Jackson, whether you agree with him or not, it was super populist in a lot of his regards. He's rolling in his grave right now, just sitting there like, how did this happen from my party? What? No. What a shock. Again, it's just, what a shock. Next story, coming from Politico. Sorry, I almost threw up in my mouth. Former Gillibrand aide resigned in protest over handling sex harassment scandals. What happened when #MeToo hit the office of one of its leaders, 2020 candidate Kirsten Gillibrand? Senator Kirsten Gillibrand, one of the most outspoken advocates of the Me Too movement, who has made fighting sexual misconduct a centerpiece of her presidential campaign, spent the last summer pressing legislators to update Congress's broken system of handling sexual harassment. At the same time, a mid-20s female aide to Gillibrand resigned in protest over her handling of a sexual harassment complaint by Gillibrand's office and criticized the senator for failing to abide by her own public standards. In July, the female staffer alleged one of Gillibrand's closest aides, who was a decade her senior and married, repeatedly made unwelcome advances after the senator had told him he would be promoted to a supervisory role over her. She also said that the male aide regularly made crude, misogynistic remarks in the office about the female colleagues and potential female hires. Oh boy. Gillibrand, you're in trouble. I mean, to be fair, I didn't like Gillibrand anyways, but Gillibrand, you are in trouble because this was your only thing. You were the Me Too candidate. That was your one thing. And you can't even get that right. Just, wow. Bernie has Medicare for all, and he's never wavered on that at all. Cory Booker has the Diet Obama thing. Tulsi Gabbard has interventionist regime change wars. Your thing was the whole Me Too thing. You got Al Franken to resign because of sexual misconduct allegations. The first ones where I was like, come on, you're being ridiculous. And the second ones I'm like, oh, never mind. This is bad. I mean, I didn't even know who Al Franken was. I found out about Al Franken later, but Al Franken seemed like an alright senator, minus the sexual harassment. We could have done without that. But hey, we have senators who are not sexual harassers. I give them a plus. Wow, literally just a plus about you didn't sexually harass someone. The bare minimum of a human being. I mean, do I say this will hurt Gillibrand's chances? Of course it will. Because again, this was her only thing. But, I mean, she didn't have any chances before then. Why would she have? She went from having a 2% chance to a 1% chance of getting the nomination. I mean, granted, Bernie's the front runner, so Now the next thing is actually not a story, but more of a update in regards to Chicago, because Chicago is currently it's currently having a mayoral race. Now, originally, I endorsed the Sean K. Ford because he was a huge Bernie supporter, and Neil Salas Griffin because he was a really progressive guy. There were like a lot of people who I felt like, these guys are progressive, but, some of them are more progressive than others, and I felt that LaShawn was the most progressive, and Neil Salas. Though, some other ones that I felt were progressive, I forget her name. But she was endorsed by a Bernie Kratz group, so I could have done a try endorsement, but I didn't. Now, since they had like 18 candidates, they of course had a runoff. I mean, they're currently having a runoff right now. The two frontrunners are County Board President Tony Preckwinkle and Lori Lightfoot. Now, both of them are African American ladies, one of which is gay also. Now, each of them have progressive aspects of them, and some of them don't. Now, in the runoff, I am currently endorsing Lori Lightfoot, because I do believe that Lori Lightfoot is at least... While I do believe Preckwinkle is a progressive, Preckwinkle is also she's the establishmentarian. Like, she's the person who's been in this organization for a while. Like, she's been in the Chicago machine for a long time. She apparently quote-unquote endorsed Bernie Sanders, but I haven't seen an actual endorsement from her. I haven't seen her say, I'm feeling the burn. All she said was, she appeared at a Bernie rally. That's it. It could have just been because it was in Chicago and she was trying to mooch voters or whatever. I don't know. Personally, I don't know if she is feeling the burn or not. She could be, but I don't know. I just don't. But Lori Lightfoot has been endorsed by the local Our Revolution, so... But this is what this segment's about. It's endorsements, because a lot of people have been giving endorsements to both Preckwinkle and Lightfoot, because the race is on. They are like butting heads. The biggest one was Willie Wilson, of course, because Willie Wilson was he got like a very good amount in the... Like, imagine Chicago like a crescent moon. Well, not even a crescent moon, just like a circle. Just the moon. The waning crescent was what Lori Lightfoot and Tony Preckwinkle got in the initial election. The black part of the moon on a crescent moon, that's what Willie Wilson got. So, like, Willie Wilson, he got collectively more groups of the city, just not the actual parts that would translate to a lot of votes. And a lot of people have been giving endorsements to these two. Danny K. Davis, a popular representative, and Chance the Rapper have given their endorsements to Tony Preckwinkle, whereas Chuy Garcia is giving his endorsement to Lori Lightfoot. Now, again, I'm going to be endorsing Lori Lightfoot because she's not part of the machine. I mean, she does have some negative things about her. I recommend Chicago's New Boss, which is a YouTube series that goes all in about these candidates. So, I mean, that's pretty much all there is for that segment. It was kind of short, but whatever. Now it's time for 2020 update. 2020 update. Joe Biden has stated that he might consider having Stacey Abrams as running mate if he does choose to run. No. Stacey Abrams, you were all right, but, from what I learned, that out of all of the three big black gubernatorial candidates, the one with the best, the best one was Ben Jealous, obviously. He was the true progressive through and through, didn't cheat, certain aspects of the progressive policy away, just so they could be a little more popular. But whatever. And by the way, Gillum, Gillum also gets mentioned here. Gillum states that he's not running for president. His big announcement on the thing, his big announcement was that he was gonna launch a voter drive across Florida in order to get Florida to be more blue in the next election because, it's a big thing. He wants to flip Florida blue. He doesn't want there to be like it's blue. Oh, it turned red. Damn it. He doesn't want that anymore. But the next thing is Beto O'Rourke raised $6.1 million coming from 128,000 donors, with the average donation being $48 each. Now, it's a weird thing. Everyone except me seems to think that Kamala Harris will be the best out of the corporate centrist neoliberal candidates. I 100% believe that out of all of the corporate establishment candidates, Beto will be the best one. Because Beto, he actually has grassroots momentum, albeit some of it given to him by TYT. And, other progressive outlets like Cal Kalinske. And even Jimmy Dore, they both were talking about, this Bernie-crat wins in Texas, and he was in talks of being a Justice Democrat, but the only reason that he didn't become a Justice Democrat was because he was a bit too iffy on Medicare for All, and not even in a bad way. He was iffy in the specifics. But, turns out, he wasn't really endorsing Medicare for All at all. But, whatever. I mean, Beto, I do believe, has the best momentum, don't get me wrong, out of all of the corporate establishment candidates. Put him next to Bernie, that momentum is nothing. Now, the last thing is something that came completely out of the blue. It's just something that was just this is a thing. People were just shocked that this was even a thing. This is there's just no other way to say it. Mike Gravel has announced that he has formed an exploratory committee to run in the 2020 Democratic primary. You heard me right. Mike Gravel. Who is Mike Gravel, you may ask? Well, Mike Gravel was the former senator from Alaska, and he ran for president in 2008 as a Democrat and then as a Libertarian, because he was kind of like a Libertarian-leaning Democrat. Now, he is also well known for releasing the Pentagon Papers outside of Nixon's will, because Nixon didn't want those released. He actually went behind his back and kind of leaked them to the world. And I love Mike Gravel. I love him. His policies are just here's the thing. I always said that Richard Ojeda was going to be 2020's Mike Gravel. Mike Gravel said, "No, I'm going to be 2020's Mike Gravel because I'm going to run for president. Just you wait." Now, I will be a little fair. Technically, this exploratory committee was founded without his consent. Well, I mean, they had his consent, but he wasn't directly involved with the exploratory committee. It was just a bunch of teenagers. No, here's the thing. Shut up. Shut up. Let me have this. I want this to be a thing. No one else seems to report it, but I will, because I love Mike Gravel. Mike Gravel is the same Democrat that has said this.
It's like going into the Senate. The first time you get there, you're all excited. My God, how did I ever get here? Then about 6 months later, you say, how the hell did the rest of them get here? Oh, Joe, I'll include you too. You have a certain arrogance. You want to tell the Iraqis how to run their country. I got to tell you, we should just play get out. I've just grown up. I'm the senior statesman on here, and I was beginning to feel like a potted plant standing over here. I think we should lower it to anybody that can go fight and die for this country should be able to drink. Their country, they're asking us to leave, and we insist on staying there. And why not get out? What harm is it going to do? Oh, you hear the statement, well, my God, the soldiers will have died in vain. The entire deaths of Vietnam died in vain. And they're dying in vain right this very second. And you know what's worse than a soldier dying in vain is more soldiers dying in vain.
Yeah. That guy is potentially running for president in 2020. Let the gravalanche begin. That's all I have to say on that regard. Now, speaking of libertarians, let's move on to the presidential candidate of the day, Daniel Taxation is Theft Berman. He is a libertarian running for the Libertarian presidential candidate. Like, he's running as a Libertarian presidential candidate. Here's his platform. Taxation is theft. Fire the IRS. End the Fed. Erase the debt. Free healthcare. Free education. You know, they have like asterisks basically saying like, they're not actually going to be free. You're going to be free to choose whatever the hell you want as your thing. Let's see. Free education. End civil asset forfeiture. End the drug war. Pardon the innocent. End daylight savings. 9th and 10th Amendments. Knowing that a man would eventually write laws to trample rights that were not explicitly written in the Constitution, the founders added the 9th and 10th Amendments as a final attempt to stop the government from going beyond its intended purpose. What? Bring them home, obviously referring to soldiers. End homelessness. Wait, what? What? I mean, if you're gonna end homelessness, you're gonna have to do more than just stop taxing people. That's not why homeless people are homeless. They're homeless because they're paid starvation wages. They're homeless because we have private property. I mean, not to diss private property, but I mean, if we didn't have private property laws, we could just shove every homeless person in a store so they'll be able to have food. But most importantly, this is truly the most important piece of legislation that he is going to propose. Legalize pineapple pizza. I was walking down the street and this man, he was eating a pineapple pizza. The government just shot and killed him right then and there. I mean, hashtag pineapple pizza is fascism. Hello. This is stupid. And capism is stupid. Like, literally. If you're a libertarian, well, stinks for you because you gotta live with ANCAPs. ANCAPs, they literally believe that just abolishing the government is gonna fix everything. Abolish government, you know, laissez-faire capitalism, ta-da, everything is solved. How is that gonna solve anything? People are still gonna starve. Now there just won't be, now they're, like, and especially considering they have this, like, stupid idea that, like, oh, like, now a country, like, it's even the ludicrous idea of, like, you say, oh, we gotta defend ourselves. What do you mean? Because now, because now, anybody can just waltz in and just say, hey, I'm gonna kill you, and then just, well, my private militia outranks your private militia. Well, there's nothing we can do about that, sorry. Your child died? Well, I mean, he was killed by a private militia, so you gotta hire your own private militia to save your kid. I'm sorry. They think that abolishing the government is literally gonna fix everything. It is gonna fix nothing. It is gonna fix nothing. 'Cause now what? Now, what do you want every company to have their own trade deals? It's gonna be it's gonna be insane. Like, I mean, I know that you're gonna say, well, actually, it won't be total anarchy because the government shut down and we live just fine. The government didn't disappear immediately. It just stopped doing some of its duties. The government is so ingrained in everything in our life that removing that cog destroys everything. They don't even understand. Like, They think that it'll fix everything, but I don't get it will fix exactly nothing. Now multi-million-dollar corporations don't have a regulation that'll prevent them from polluting the earth and killing everybody. Well, at least my ANCAPism did good. Because capitalism cannot be controlled in the slightest. It should never be regulated. The rich need to be the richest of the rich, and the poor people need to starve and die. Like, Daryl Perry even said the stupidest thing about, like, okay, guys, I want you to raise your hands for this. Raise your hand if you guys love grandmas. How many of you would donate money to feed grandmas? I did not see a single person raise their hand. That's how you fund Social Security, Medicaid, and Medicare. If you don't mind paying for Social Security, Medicaid, and Medicare, then why are you complaining about taxes? It's weird. They were like mad that taxation exists, but they're like, oh no. If the government, if we would totally pay for this stuff. We just don't want the government to force us to pay for that stuff. Then why the hell are you so mad about paying for it? I get some things that people. If you just honestly said, I do not want to pay Social Security because I don't want to pay for your dying grandma. I don't want to pay your grandma's health insurance. If you just said that, fine. You're a dick, but fine. Like, I mean, personally, I don't want to pay for the drone strikes. But the thing is, like, it would be fine if we had, like, some solution and we would just be like Andrew Yang proposed this weird idea. Like, it was an idea I had, but, like, you pretty much say to the government, I want my money to go to this. I mean, granted, all your money is really being put in a pool to be then given to stuff. The end. I mean, granted, our money is worthless anyways. Our money is literally worthless. Like, I mean, literally worthless. But anyways, enough of that rant. Now let's move on to the main topic of the video. In the continuation of the last video I did, I will go over first what ones I believe have the best, like which ones I like the best, with some reasons why. But afterwards, I will then go on to the best of the ones I believe legitimately could win the nomination. Now, I was originally going to do the latter for a main series video, but the thing is, the list keeps consistently changing because more people announce that they're going to run. And then more people announce that they're less going to run. Like, I legitimately had all of the ones recorded because I was like, there's no way that this, originally it was like, I don't want to say too much, but, like, originally I had Merkley and Sherrod Brown on the list. And then, well, they decided, I'm not going to run. So things just kept consistently changing. I think by the time of the first debate, the list will be more defined, so I can actually make a main series video explaining these viewpoints. But I think it's best to do it in a podcast as well, because then you'll be able to have, like, this is purely opinion, mostly. Now, ground rules, I will only be going over major candidates. So that means people like Michael Arth and Robbie Wells will be excluded from the list. But due to the fact that Andrew Yang has made it to the point where he technically can be allowed in the debates, and many people include Marianne Williamson, I will be including them as well. 2, exploratory committees count as well, because exploratory committees are pretty much just you saying you're going to run, but not actually going to run. Now, with that out of the way, let's start off with, because technically, here's the thing, I currently have up to 8 choices that I could legitimately probably see myself voting for. Pete Buttigieg. Now, Buttigieg is interesting. Buttigieg is kind of a Martin O'Malley-like progressive. As in, he's progressive, but not like the progressive, like not like the social democratic style progressive. He's like progressive on a lot of issues, blah 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 blah. But the one big thing that he has that I think could legitimately be a good thing was he was the first candidate in the 2020 Democratic field that actually said, I am looking to abolish the Electoral College. That's a good thing. I'm with him all the way on that. 7, Jay Inslee. He is a huge supporter of the Green New Deal and combating climate change. In fact, so much so, it's pretty much been his one main issue. That says, like, that's his Medicare for all. He is, like, if he became the Democratic nominee, I could legitimately see myself voting for him because climate change is a big issue. I will, like, even though if I got elected, my main issue is Medicare for all. If someone said, no, my main issue is climate change, and then Medicare for all is my number 2, I would gladly be like, okay, fine. Climate change is going to kill us all anyway, so we might as well take care of that first. Now, of course, Jay Inslee has some downsides. He supported Hillary Clinton in 2016, and he was part of the New Democrat Coalition, so he did take corporate PAC money, but he never took a fossil fuel PAC, so that's a good thing. Next one, Marianne Williamson. She's a super progressive. Like, she's like a progressive firebrand. She endorsed Bernie in 2016. She ran as a progressive independent. So, of course, she's, a good, reasonable chance to win. She's like a really good progressive. I do like a lot of her policies. She's a bit more spiritual-minded, I would say, but, that's not necessarily a downgrade. Now, number 5, kind of like a 4 and 5 are kind of tied around the same mark. Elizabeth Warren and Andrew Yang. Now, they've kind of been a bit iffy. Elizabeth Warren's, like, of course, the third progressive senator we have, supports Medicare for all, $50 living wage. She didn't endorse Bernie. She gets a little too identity politics-like. Listens to Democratic strategists too much. Seems to kind of backtrack on some of the stuff that she says. Like, one of the things that she said that was kind of interesting was when they told her, do you accept corporate PAC money in the general election? Because you clearly stated you're doing it for the primary, but do you go so far as to say, will you do so in the general? And she says, I will take it in PAC money in the general election because I do not believe in unilateral disarmament. But the thing is, people don't like that. If you take corporate PAC money one time, it's kind of screwed you over, pooch. Now, Andrew Yang, he's kind of doing a good thing and a bad thing at the same time. Andrew Yang, he is currently running on this whole idea, universal basic income, that's not the bad part. The bad part is, he's kind of getting more and more alt-righty. Many things that he's said have been a little bit more alt-righty, like him saying, like, how the male suicide rate is high, which, is true, but, men's rights activists who, post Pepe memes online, they tend to like that. He got the unofficial endorsement from Richard Spencer. He, stated, how white birth rates is low, which is a popular part of the white genocide myth. But most importantly of all, he stated that he does not want to ban circumcision. That's a no-no for me, Andrew. Number 3 is the one that was mentioned earlier, Mike Gravel. Mike Gravel. I want Gravel. Gravel, bring me on Mike Gravel. Gravel is like a super duper progressive guy. And a good thing about him that I think is the big thing about him that is the thing he has that Bernie doesn't is he's willing to go outside of the two-party system. Bernie is too, but Bernie only does it when he's running. He doesn't do it when he's endorsing. Gravel has endorsed Jesse Johnson of the Mountain Party. He's endorsed Darcy Richardson of the Reform Party. He's endorsed Steve Cubby when he ran for the the thing, like Libertarian vice president. He's like a super progressive guy who goes outside of the two-party system. He understands just two-party politics ain't gonna work. It's pretty much a continuation of Eugene McCarthy. He does that a lot. And the second best is Tulsi Gabbard, obviously. She, staunch progressive, anti-war. She did have like a big anti-progressive past, but we can look past a little bit of that. And of course, number one is Bernie Sanders. I love his policies on pretty much everything and everything. Now, on to how I would rank them in an actual 2020 primary field. Now, first, let's start off on the way bottom. We have a tie. John Delaney, Marianne Williamson, and Wayne Messam. Those three, they're pretty... I love Marianne, don't get me wrong, but she really does not have movement at all, unfortunately. They don't have that much movement at all. Now, you might remember Wayne Messam, maybe you don't. I don't remember him either. But in all seriousness, he's the mayor of Myanmar. He's like a mayor of a Florida city. But he doesn't really have that much going for him, period. Now, right above them, I would put the likes of John Hickenlooper and Amy Klobuchar. They have some centrist momentum. And when I say centrist momentum, I mean the corporate lobby. That's pretty much all Oh, I forgot. Mike Gravel on the bottom with Marianne and stuff. Granted, they don't have that much momentum. They don't. Mike Gravel, he does have support from some young people, but I don't think it's going to be that much. Wayne Messam. No, I already said Wayne Messam. Amy Klobuchar and John Hickenlooper above them. Then right above him, I'd put, say, Julian Castro, Kirsten Gillibrand, Pete Buttigieg, and Cory Booker. They have momentum, but it's just, again, it's not that much. It's a small amount, comparatively. Oh, wait, and around that place, I'd also put, say, Andrew Yang. Because Yang, he does have, like I said, I keep saying this, but he does have, it's especially getting big to the point that where it could actually be big. Momentum. Oh, wait, no, hold on. Right below Gillibrand and Booker, I'd put Harris. Because out of all of the corporate establishmentarian guys, I don't think they have that much momentum. Jay Inslee is around there too. But the biggest ones are the top four. I'd say Tulsi is number 4. Because while she does have a lot of momentum, she does. It just happens that it is, again, not that much. It's big enough, but it's not that much. If you actually analyze some of her town halls, you'll actually notice that she does have a lot of old support as well. And many people are saying that it could potentially take some votes away from another older type candidate. Then at number 3 and number 2 is kind of a tie. I'd say it's around half and half. Elizabeth Warren and Beto O'Rourke. Now, many people are saying, wait, hold on. But what about Beto? You kind of trash talked him before. Beto raised $6.1 million. He did have some, iffies on how his donations worked. But he did still raise $6.1 million. And while Warren has the progressive momentum, it is not as much as you-know-who. That number 1 being Bernie Sanders. So yes, now you could say, but you like Bernie. You're just skewing the results. I'm not. Just look at the facts. Most popular politician. All of his policies rank high. He would have won against Donald Trump, but Hillary Clinton screwed him over. Despite Clinton screwing him over, he still won a good amount of the vote. He had a lot of, the Ron Paul of the left. He started a political movement that is not going away anytime soon. So you better suck it up and live with it. Thanks for watching this video. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and click that bell to be notified when a future video of mine comes out. And if you're interested in more political content from me, you can go to my website or follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Quora. What are your thoughts on these rankings? Do you think I did good, or do you think I'm completely wrong? Leave your thoughts in the comment section below.